37.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Douglas Historical Commission to order on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024 at 5:37. This meeting is taking place at the Resource Room in the Douglas Municipal Center. Present at today's meeting are Rebecca Doyen-LaValle,
Dawn Fontaine.
Scott Garland.
Sarah Diamond.
Christy Turgeon.
all right. Welcome, Christy, to your first meeting as a board member.
Thank you.
Okay, so Dawn has provided all of us with agenda for today's meeting. Are there any objections, amendments, or would somebody like to motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I can move to approve.
I see changes, yeah. Second.
Okay.
Second.
All approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. Dawn has also provided us with the meeting minutes from the April 11th meeting. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to review them. Any movement to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved. I mean, yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 11th, 2024.
Seconded.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passed.
Okay.
Okay, so this meeting, we have, the primary purpose of this meeting is to do a virtual walkthrough of the downtown district to see what photographs, what buildings we would like to get photographs of. But before we do that, we would like to hit two other sections of things to discuss. The first is the Community Preservation Act meeting.
Yes.
That took place on April 25th. Scott, you and
yes.
David were supposed to
Dave, I
attend
don't
that?
think David.
David wasn't able to make it, but Sarah.
Oh,
Sarah was there.
Sarah and I were there.
Yep.
Full representation.
You guys were, yeah, because I talked to my friend who's on the Open Space Committee, and she said we were very well represented, so that's good. Just not.
Yeah, it was a good mix with them. I think
Yeah,
that,
we just didn't get enough from all the, what were the, I have the letter, the original letter, I just have one copy here, but I can pass it
Yeah,
on.
I haven't seen their minutes of that meeting.
Yeah, they should get posted online, but I'm not quite sure off the top of my head.
You know, and I'm totally new walking into this, my
Yeah.
first, you know, another committee that I've not attended and really don't know a lot about, shamefully, but Open Space Committee.
Yeah.
But specifically, this was to do with the Community Preservation Act project, eventual proposal for the town of Douglas. It was a very good presentation from the Mendon, her name, Ann Messier, from the Mendon CPA. So she did a great job, very informative, the struggles and the successes of how Mendon approved.
So they approved it.
They
What-
did.
How long ago was that?
It's actually been a couple of years, because right
Yes.
now, they are actually maturity enough in the program to be doing quite a few projects.
Right.
Okay, good.
And, you know,
It sounded like, it could be very beneficial for like historical preservation type of things.
yeah,
She was talking about like how they went for grants, different stuff, so.
and it's pretty diverse in that it can even be used to like handicap accessibility for
Right.
private businesses. like
Yeah, so I
downtown.
thought about like the library.
I just, did you hear me?
The library.
Right, that was the first thing I thought of too, so
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it did sound like, it could be quite, useful to
Yeah.
have. But-
The only thing I came out, concerned about was that they've got a lot on their plate. They want to come before the town in November. And I'm like,
Okay.
that's,
there's a lot that's being very aggressive, and especially
Yeah.
when the average taxpayer hasn't even heard of the project.
Yeah.
And it is
We have a
a
lot of
taxpayer.
education to do.
do you,
And I think she said something like it's a 3%
Yeah, 1 to
increase.
3%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tax increase?
yeah, and I guess you can choose if you want the 1 or the 3, but or anything in between, but there's benefits to having the 3%.
3%.
It opens you up to like more state money.
Correct.
Okay.
Stuff like
now,
that.
if you do this, will it keep anything from happening? Like, so remember the historic, if we went for the local historic district, it would create like
Restrictions?
restrictions.
Yeah.
Will this
I
create
don't
restrictions?
think it creates restrictions.
didn't get that
It sounded like
sense.
it just more or less gave you more access to like different grants and, you know, the ability
Defraying of
to.
cost.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, and it sounded like it would be a good thing for, you know, both open space type stuff and historic stuff and,
In the cemetery.
and, yeah, and she also said like it had something also to do with affordable housing, like they had
There's a lot-
money for
lot of
that, and like,
categories.
so there was.
Yeah.
yeah. It was recorded too. Yeah,
Parks.
right, like recreational type stuff.
Recreational.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot. I mean, they're, right now, if you drive through Mendon Center, there's work at the Old Town Library, turning into town
So-
offices.
Here's, but I had it
I'm
up.
squinting to read
But
it.
here's the Mendon
That's
site.
Oh, that's Benton's site? I thought that was
Yep.
the state.
Yeah, they actually
They
have,
signed it into law in 2000 and accepted in 2002.
so it's been
So
a
it's
while.
been-
It's been more than a
it's
couple
been a
of
while.
years.
2 years to accept it, too.
Funds are raised through a
Yeah.
3% surcharge on property taxes.
I
Right.
can see where that, you know,
That's
just
gonna be
judging
a
by the
problem.
history of Douglas's photoship,
Yeah.
where that will be difficult to
The
get.
first
you know,
100
Unless we get a lot of supporters that are active in, you know, promoting it and supporting it.
The first 100,000 of residential value is exempt.
Right.
Oh.
And there's
So if
low
your
income.
house is worth 125,000, you're only
You're
getting,
charged 25.
okay.
In addition, the state contributes matching funds from surcharges on real estate transactions at the state's registries of deeds. And the state match is up to 100% of local funds collected.
Right. So they actually were going to go for 1%. That's what they didn't want to
Okay.
hit too hard on the
Right.
taxpayers.
Right.
But there was an effort in their town to fight it aggressively. And so the recommendation came back that they go for 3%, and they did, and it passed. So that's why they were at 3%. They were only going for 1. But they have realized since then that 3%
good.
has been very beneficial in the long run because it
Yeah.
allows for closer to full
Right.
reimbursement on certain.
Yeah, right, it's like the more you put into it, the more you can get out of it, it seems like,
Yeah.
so.
Through my work, we do some video, like marketing videos, and we can use the platform for free for nonprofit stuff that we do.
nice.
So I was just thinking it might be nice to do like a little video that we could put on the town site, on Facebook, you know,
I just-
who's ever in charge, not you, but.
No. It's just like some of these projects, it's like, this is kind of a, it's a newbie for the average taxpayer.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
So-
we don't even, right.
I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of risky to go short without having public information out there for a period of a year. People need to know, because otherwise,
Is-
it could just be a negative vote because I don't want my taxes up.
Okay, so I guess what I was worried about was, is there, so if they want to go before the town in November, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, is there some kind of deadline?
They do. They have,
It's too close. It's
Yeah.
never going to fly.
right.
Right.
Agreed.
They need
Why, it's
to,
like 6 months or more before
Well-
November?
they need
There's a lot
to,
of groundwork.
they need to get it started where they start telling people what it is. They would have been best getting all their ducks in a row for the annual meeting, getting stuff presented then, and then starting to then push it forward. To just now be trying to put it out there. It's summer, people aren't going to be paying attention. You're not going to be getting people at town meeting, town type
And
things.
there was a
Yeah.
reason why they wanted to get November, or something to do with the state. Do you remember what
Yeah.
that was? They had to get, if they didn't get it in November, it would be another year.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the time of year to be
Okay.
pushing
Oh, yeah.
for it.
So if I understand it right, like if we miss this November, we could still do it next go.
I don't want to speak
Yeah.
out of.
Yeah, I
but
understand,
that-
yeah.
As far as what I got out of it, yes,
Okay.
it would be another year.
So,
Right.
was there any other meeting or correspondence
Yes, they
scheduled?
did schedule another meeting for it. Give me 1 second and
Okay.
I'll look up the date of their next meeting.
Because I was just.
I did put it in my calendar. I do know it's a Thursday night because that's.
And they actually have someone in a position that works 4 hours a week. They get funding for it.
The
What, the open
committee
space?
does? Nice. 4 hours a week.
For the Community Preservation Act, yeah.
Oh, Wow, that's
Like I
good.
said, I don't think, I think
So
they're
their next
trying.
meeting, they tentatively scheduled their next meeting for Thursday, the 30th at 7 PM
Of May.
of May, yeah.
I just feel like they're trying to cram it too.
Like it might be too rushed, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna take a lot of, like,
I think it's going to take a lot of groundwork. I think it's going to take a lot of grassroots effort. And I don't think summertime is the
No,
best
you're not
time
gonna get-
to do that.
Yeah, nobody's paying attention to it.
I think spring, honestly, I think maybe getting the groundwork started in the summer, and you can get a real good push maybe at Oktoberfest. That's a good time to
Oh,
start.
put a little booth or something?
Yeah, that's a good time to start really
Absolutely.
presenting it. To
Yes.
me, if you want to really push something, Oktoberfest is a great time to get something like this out there. Then you've got winter, you can have meetings, you can have discussions, you can have question and answers. Then come at town meeting, you then have a point where you can like, okay, now let's really do it. Put it to a vote, see what the vote is, and if the vote doesn't go through, why didn't it go through? See what you need to amend in order to get,
and I
go
think-
through a
I
special
think they
election
said
in
it
November.
has to pass both the town meeting and the ballot.
Yes.
So it needs
Okay.
both of those things to
Yes.
pass.
So that's just my thought, like
Well,
if
you
you're
need a
gonna,
public forum, you need an opportunity for people to
Right.
come in
Right.
and I
and
mean,
openly ask
Question and
questions.
answers.
honestly, and like, going off of what I saw with the library, I mean, Justin did a ton. He did the surveys, he did all kinds of stuff that helped push what we, to let us see
Right.
what was needed. And that was, I mean, that was months of research before he even started doing it.
Right.
And that was with a consultant.
So why don't we see if any of us can go to that meeting?
Thursday nights, I'm completely
Yeah,
out
that's
of.
okay. There's enough of
I
us.
can-
7
I can do
PM
it
on the
Thursday.
30th.
You do that one?
May
Okay.
30th.
7 PM?
So I have something that's a maybe that
I'll plan to
night.
try to go to that one too.
Okay.
Like I said,
We can just check.
suggest
I might be able to
October,
go.
like, suggest making Oktoberfest really like almost
An
their,
outreach
yeah, almost like their, this is what, their, not grand opening, but their big
Push.
push for it.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
I mean, maybe we could even reach out to Oktoberfest and see if, well, I mean, they could reach out to Oktoberfest and see if they could get a booth to, like, promote explaining of it and stuff, but I don't know if.
Yeah, like have flyers or
people would
something.
be
Yeah,
able to
and talk
explain a little bit.
Talk one-on-one, so it's not just a whole bunch of misinformation.
So with me going full-time at the library, one of the things Justin and I are talking about me doing is creating a community outreach program that's dealing with local politics. And something like this would be one of the really good things for me to start working with, because the entire point is Facebook is toxic. You can get information on it, but you also get everybody's opinions. And we're looking to just have a place of information. And this would be a good place, this would be a good thing for just a place of information.
Right.
Because it's going to be a controversial thing, and we could get the positives and the negatives. And that's something we want to make sure that if we're doing it, we're presenting both, so people have a view of both, but have a view of both in a non-biased way, as opposed to just people being like, well, I don't like that.
Well, I was
Yes.
somewhat concerned with it muddying the waters of the historic district, because it's,
Oh, right.
While they're
different.
they're different, but they're very related,
Yeah,
because it's an act.
right.
So, it's kind of like if you're going to be negative to one, you might be negative to both, just because.
Yeah, just
Well,
because that's your
Yeah.
slant.
But the good part about what we're doing is we're going with a national and not the
Correct.
local, so we don't worry about bylaws and everything. We're just putting a nice fancy name on us. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing, is we're putting a fancy name on it, as
Right.
opposed to actually,
Right, and I wonder if, there's a way to get a flyer out to all the voters that would explain, like, both things, like, explain
You have
what the
to.
CPA is,
You have to do it
right?
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who's, is it Sue Perkins?
Yeah.
Okay. Does
Like,
Sue
you
do,
know how-
does Sue do email?
she does have an email, I'm not sure
But
how
it's
much
not
she
checked like
uses.
daily. is what I-
Yeah,
every few days.
Does anybody have a phone number for Sue?
Yeah, it's on the top of my head, actually.
Is it really? Oh my God.
Because she uses the home.
I'll reach out to Sue. Let her,
Like, I know, like, before town meeting, they always have the FinCom flyer that they send out, like, maybe before that town, or well in advance of that town meeting, but not too far in advance where people will forget. But maybe they could send out something about what the CPA is and why we're wanting one, and, you
Yeah,
know,
and what the benefits
reasons
are.
Yeah, right. what the
And then maybe
reasons are.
in that 100,000, that should be brought up a lot too, like, give a real world.
Right.
I said 125, but really, what's the average house?
Well, and they threw out some numbers like, that's right, they threw out some of those numbers.
Oh, they-
What's the impact, 1% in Mendon, in Douglas valuation equals around today $80.
$80 a year?
$60, I'm sorry, let me check.
well, and something that's a positive.
$60 a year.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And something that's a positive is we just had our assessments done. Like, the town assessors just reassessed all the properties. So it's not even like you're going to be having this go through and then the assessors going through and upping everybody's property. They literally just
Okay.
did that.
That was on a $400,000 home.
But I'm saying,
That's
like,
400, and that's probably average, right?
Yep.
okay.
With the 100,000 exemption,
Yeah,
low income exemption.
okay, all right. Well, we can probably move on from that one, right? Since we have a lot, but that's great. Thank you for going. And so Scott, what did you say about the 30th? Can you do that one? You don't have to, but are you a maybe or a no?
I am.
Do you want to check?
Not even-
That's okay, because right now Christy, Sarah, and I can go. I kind of have plans, but I'll check. That's okay.
Like I said, I'll reach out to Sue.
Yeah.
And just let her know I'd like to. It interferes with work schedule. I had some thoughts. And
Yeah.
also, this is what we're going to be doing at the library, so it might be a way for us to make the two work together. Because it could be a really good starting, one of the
Yeah.
first good starting points for us.
Christy, do you want to see the letter? I just have this one copy. Okay, so the other thing was the BFCC walkthrough of the threatened property. So there was this long email from the 19th of April where there was the YouTube video of them walking through in January. So Sarah and I are planning to go to the next BFCC, which happens to be tomorrow. But we just wanted to, like, Sarah and I wanted to speak for the whole group, and so we wanted to get what everybody's thoughts were on these. And I have my email printed out here if anybody needs a refresher. So there's 4 properties, 11 Gleason Court, which is the old grammar school. Do people know, need any, like where, like if you're heading from the post office up to the schools, it's that brown building on the right. Cottage Street, which is the old fire station that you don't even really see from there, like it's set back a little bit, just after that little waterfall. The Douglas Center School on 21 Main, which is, I forget if that's before or after the ice cream lady.
It's after,
Okay.
it's right, it's before the common, next to the cemetery.
Right.
It's by the soccer fields, right?
Yes.
In front of the soccer fields?
Okay, so this is
Oh.
this is the grammar school. This is the fire station. What's
Just
the-
like kind of sitting in a residential area.
What's,
21 Main.
This one we cannot see. Oh,
Oh, it turned into chairs.
yep.
North Beach.
This one here we go. That's the center school.
Okay, there we go.
So the center school was also the VFW at one point.
And then there's also 104 Main Street, but that's not really in our domain because that's the
The old
Buckeye
Buckeye
Pipeline
Pipeline or
Company. So
something,
it's not
yeah.
so much of a building, it's more like land. I think there's a small building on there, so.
And then also the Brown House. Did they discuss that?
They did.
So that brown house that's right next to it. So there was, Becky, you know the story of this one better, because it
How do I
looks
not know
old,
that
but it's
brown
not
house is there?
really.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
It's there.
So basically, it was built on a corner of an old house. So the town assessor's office has it as like 1700s, 1940s. The problem is the house is filled with asbestos. So to tear it down is going to cost an arm and a leg.
That's a lot of the problem with a lot of things.
The town bought it mainly because it was between the center school and the cemetery. The main thought was that it would eventually, the cemetery would eventually take over the Brown building. It currently has a cross on it. This does not have the
Doesn't show
pictures.
it there.
It's a white background with a red cross.
I mean, it
That,
looks like a scuba thing.
Right.
that means that it is, should not be entered into by fire because it is completely unsafe for them. Basically, they risk their lives going into that building. It's unoccupied and all of that. The center school has a single red slash, which means that it is unoccupied, but it is safe for fire to go into should something happen. And I believe the grammar school and the fire station both also have the red slashes. Am I correct on that, Sarah?
I think so. I haven't been by the old fire station, so I'm not sure which one that one has, but I think.
Well, they're using it as storage, that's why I think they've got the red slash.
Yeah, a single probably.
Yeah, I
The other one
think the
is-
Brown House is the only one that has
The X.
The X.
the X. The floors are spongy. They, like,
I mean-
when they get the money, it's coming down.
Coming down.
It's just a
It's got
matter.
no historical value.
Yeah.
None of-
now.
It looks like it might from the outside, but it sounds like it really does
No.
not.
It's,
So when they talked about that one, well, they talked about the asbestos and it was expensive. It needs to go to town meeting if they're to tear it down. And they were going to talk, they being the BFCC, were going to talk to the capital committee because the safety concerns.
Well, if it goes, so one of the things that, so I don't watch these things, I listen. I don't do well watching, I get bored
Yeah.
easy, but I do really well just listening like it's a podcast.
Yeah.
One of the things that they had asked Adam is if that goes up, does it present a hazard? And Adam's like, yeah, if we're standing by a fire truck and that thing goes up and the wind turns,
Yeah.
every single one of us standing by that fire truck is now at risk.
That's
because
Adam
we're
Furno, the,
because we're breathing in
Asbestos.
asbestos.
Yeah.
He was building facilities, but I believe now he's head of town department.
Okay.
But when he did this, he was head of building and facilities.
okay.
Don't quote me on that,
highway,
though.
he's
Yeah.
highway,
Now he's highway, he got.
acting highway. or
No,
something.
he's
Murphy.
fully promoted to acting, he's
Okay.
fully promoted to highway, but I think when this took place, he was building and facilities.
Right, so it was
Yeah.
January 2nd.
I mean, it needs to come down, like you said, it's a hazard, and if anything was to happen like that, you're creating a hazard for the neighborhood as well.
Exactly, so
And
that,
there's
so.
remediation involved in cleanup, so the
So-
town needs to move the.
So
Yeah.
they're really going to make a push on getting
Yeah.
rid of this building more than anything else.
Right.
Right, so that they're already trying to get funds basically to tear that down. So that one, they've kind of voted on. So just to back up a sec, for those who weren't there, like Shirley Mazinski, who has the BFCC, came to us in December or November, whenever our meeting was prior to that,
Yeah, she came,
to invite us to that walkthrough in their meetings, but none of us could make it on semi-short notice.
yeah, it was
Holiday
very
time.
quick.
So, yeah, so we didn't really get a say in that, but personally, I'm just a little, like, I'm not sure where we come in, you know what I mean? Because it's,
Honestly, that building, when I thought it was 1700s, I had a very different opinion.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, let it go. It's an eyesore, and the fact that it's a hazard.
Yeah.
yeah, it is pretty much an eyesore.
And like I said, the reason it's got the date it has, I had actually had a conversation with the assessor about these types of things, why some houses are dated much older than they actually are. All that has to happen is a house has to be put up on a corner of an old house.
In order to get the building permit.
And that depending on who was the assessor at the time, who did the permits,
Yeah.
tons of different factors could go in, and that house that was built in 1940 could have a date of 1835.
Right.
Yeah.
All those kinds of little
So, yeah.
things can come into play.
Yep.
So, like I said, that one I'm
So-
perfectly fine with.
But I don't know if we should, like, to me, the historical commission, part of what we do should be like a last effort before
Right.
something gets torn down. And we've gotten notices before in the mailbox when they want to tear something down. We've generally, there wasn't a lot we could do or wasn't that historic. But like this one that they're voting to tear down, we didn't get any kind of notification on it. When we were invited to that walkthrough and like, so we're kind of aware of it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's something that we should bring up tomorrow, is that we should have a last,
We should at least be informed
Right.
Yeah.
of what's going to happen, and we should be,
You have to have input.
have input.
I think they did really want our opinions, because I think that's kind of part of why she came to invite us, is that they were looking for
Correct.
But
our
I-
input,
But I want to say, like, we had less than a week's notice.
yeah, it was short. And I was gonna go to it, but then I was sick that day, so I ended
Oh,
up not
yeah.
able to go to it.
You were
so-
sick, I had no childcare because did not have time to arrange
Right.
it.
yeah.
Right. I think it was only like a week before.
I don't even
they
think,
were going.
yeah.
Yeah, so, but,
That's right, because didn't we meet between the week between Christmas and New Year's? And
Yeah.
That was January 2nd,
Right.
so you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no
Yeah.
wiggle room on that one whatsoever to even try and get something put into place.
So, all right, so we'll ask that, so that we get informed with anything like that. But while we're on this slide, let's talk about the Douglas Center School, and like what we think should happen to it. So,
Well, do you think we should just make it in our minutes that, are we all in agreement that
I'm
About the
fine.
Brown
that we
House?
think that,
yeah.
should we
Why don't
do
we
a
take like a
vote?
vote? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that maybe we can vote on each one.
at least it's on
and-
record? that-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That might give a more clear,
the Brown House.
a clear thing.
Do-
We need to be more
Tell them.
specific.
Do we have a motion to tear down the Brown House?
Yes.
Okay, so motion made.
Yes, I will
Second.
make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion to tear down the Brown House, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed with full approval.
So that's on Main Street,
That's
next to 21 Main Street.
Yep, hold on a sec.
So Dawn, I would just, on your notes there.
Yeah.
As long as we say that we're not voting to tear down the house.
Yeah, we're just voting that we're in favor.
We're in favor of the
All in
towns.
In support.
Or the committees,
Voted in favor.
Did I say it wrong?
no, I just want to make sure that we're not,
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you don't have any right.
Right. No, we have very little rights. We're going to take whatever we can.
Am I blind here? Okay, that's a really stupid question. The answer to that is always, yes, I am blind.
Okay, so that's
Up here's 21 Main,
an extra.
so
It's
the
not even,
Brown House is,
Right there. You had, oh, go back, you had it right there. Far left side of the,
oh, I'm going the wrong
Right there.
direction, thank you.
Yep.
That is 19.
19.
19,
Okay.
okay, 19.
Sorry, took me a little bit longer to get there than I should have.
Okay, so 21 Main is the Douglas Center School, which is probably the hardest one to figure out.
Yep.
Because we walked through this, I don't know, 5 years ago or something.
2018.
With different members. Sarah, I don't think you remember yet.
I was, yeah.
So Becky and I and David and Sean, I think at the time, did it. So that one's beautiful inside, but it's,
but it's getting ruined.
it's getting ruined. There's like peeling paint,
There's water
there's, I'm
coming
sure,
in on the-
asbestos. What, did you say, Scott?
Water coming in on the
Us-
west side of it.
Asbestos is a huge issue there.
Is it?
Yes, I believe it was.
I think someone ripped out all of the copper piping.
Yes.
A few
Yeah.
years ago,
Yes.
so that's another issue with that building. However, I think it's a great building, and I think, I
Yeah.
think it's worth saving,
So
We don't have very many.
one question that comes up with the property there, if anyone
I am trying to get there.
into the soccer fields in the back, right?
Yeah.
It's like impossible to park. I'm sure there's been accidents there, it's such a narrow thing. So if the Brown House were to come down, that could be, could that be parking? I'm just saying it could be, but I don't know. I'm assuming
It could be, but I think the bigger thing is that was always meant to be cemetery overflow.
Because we
Okay.
might need more cemeteries.
But we still have a lot of plots.
And I'm just,
Currently, we do still have a lot, so
Yeah.
okay, so.
we're not looking at needing that quite yet.
Well, if nothing else, you could probably put a row, you know what I mean?
Well, a single row
Yeah.
of parking
And
that
it's
doesn't
it's
get
quite a
closed.
bit, it's quite a...
Okay, so here we go. This is the center school inside. So you go up the steps, the main steps, and then you go up another set of steps. And there's a room on each side of those steps. And they were the two,
Decent size room, like-
they were two big classrooms. Right in between, I wouldn't call it a kitchen, maybe a kitchenette.
Yeah.
More of a kitchenette is what's between them. So
The
this is-
cafeteria.
No, like literally, like it had a fridge and
Oh.
like a little like sink and all of that.
Food prep area.
Yes. So these are, so the town, once it stopped being the VFW, and I believe Adam said he believed they stopped using it about 8 years ago.
Okay.
It very much became town storage.
Okay. Which is fine.
This is the kitchenette.
It's beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
It's actually,
so I actually, I did Girl Scouts in this.
Did you really?
This is where I used to have my
The
Girl Scouts.
building has great character.
And that
I
looks
don't know
not
how
an
you-
eyesore from the street.
No, not at all. It's a really, it's a unique little building. It's still there.
Now,
The
here's-
floors are great.
Here's where we come into the problem.
Yeah,
We are now in the basement.
yeah. The moisture.
Big time?
Moisture is not anyone's friend, right?
Nope.
Well, I think Adam, on that tape, he, he suggested it could be just because there's no gutters or insufficient working gutters.
But I mean-
And that the water's just coming down off the roof and sitting at the sill and leaching into the building.
But I
So,
mean, just take a look at like,
yeah.
I mean, granted,
Looks like my
they're
basement.
cardboard boxes, but it gives
Yeah.
you an idea of
How wet.
how bad things
Yes. Understood.
are.
Yep.
I mean,
I would hate to see this building lost.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
We don't have many like it that we could do something with.
now this is back upstairs.
Yeah, water's coming through the roof. But yet, that's the west side. The east side, the ceiling's,
That's the first side I showed you. So this is,
the ceiling's fine on the other side.
yeah. So that's the center school from the inside taken November of 2018.
Okay.
I just think that if the town could possibly do something to stabilize, keep the water coming through the roof, you know,
So-
something that doesn't cost taxpayers a lot of money at this point, till we come up with something like this Preservation Act or something.
So a couple of problems when we talk about the center school. Contrary to its name, it's not center. It was center for Old Douglas.
Yeah.
But it's actually not in a great location for, like, downtown Douglas, you can walk to, you've got the senior center, you've got the library, stuff is. you
I always
can-
think of it as East Douglas and Douglas Center.
I always-
Center is over there and East
I call it
Douglas is
downtown, I call it
Yeah.
downtown in Old Douglas.
Right.
My grandparents lived downtown and I live up in Old Douglas. So one of the problems is whenever we try and think of things to do with the center school is whenever you're thinking of something, well, it's like, well, what can we put there? Because it's not in the center of town. It's not where the activity is in town. Stuff like a rec center has been brought up, but it's nowhere near the school, so it doesn't make sense as a
That
rec.
doesn't stop them from using the soccer fields. I mean,
Right.
it's not near
Well,
the schools,
right.
but they still
I
go there
mean-
and play, so.
Sports meetings, things.
No, I'm just saying, when you bring up,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's some of the stuff that sometimes gets brought up, that it's
Yeah.
rec center meaning more like an after-school center as opposed to organized sport.
So
Yeah.
why don't we leave it, well, I'll propose this, that we leave that one as, like, that stays a town building. We don't try to sell it or anything, but it can become, like, they've got it for storage, the soccer field
Were
is
they
right
thinking of
there.
selling it? Because I know
They
it was
were
mentioned.
thinking about tearing it down.
Tearing it down.
Oh, tearing it down, that's even
A
worse.
possibility. I don't think anybody
I
wanted
haven't
even
heard about
worse.
selling.
So,
Yeah, no one
I thought it
really-
was mentioned at one of their meetings that they contemplating whether it was worth selling off.
That happened more for the grammar school, but
Yeah,
it might have happened
maybe.
here too.
I don't know what value it would have its, and then if you cut it off as far as a private, you know,
I'm sorry,
what
what?
size
You're fine.
property,
Right. And it is all still surrounded by town property, you know, I mean, the cemetery's right next to it.
Yeah, and the soccer field in the back. I don't think that, because it's like kind of a narrow spot to get to the soccer
Correct.
field, that's more like one way.
So that right of way, whatever that
always
is,
going to be that way,
easement,
unless
uh-huh.
major money is put into it, and that's not going to happen.
Okay.
Or it shouldn't.
Okay, the building was built in 1921.
Okay.
Trying to see if there's anything else that our good friend Mr. Marsh had to say about it.
I just think it's premature with at least this committee, the Open Space Committee, CPA Act. I think it would be a shame to say, oh, we recommend that you tear it down today, and then
I know.
maybe the
Right.
act gets passed in 2
Right.
years.
And then we have no historic buildings
And you find-
left
yeah.
to save.
Once they're
and we'll
gone,
have
they're
grant
gone.
money, and that would be.
I mean, I don't know
very
what
sad.
it could be. It's probably not, it's not up to us to decide what it could be.
Right, it's not up to
Or
us to
even,
decide that.
yeah.
I
it's up
think
to
we
the
should
town.
Also-
focus on saving it first and figure out what we
Yeah.
need it for
But
later.
to save it,
Yeah.
you have to protect it from further destruction.
Right.
Which right now, Mother Nature's gonna start taking care of that.
The other thing I wonder, bear with me a sec, and I don't know, I might have to pull it up somewhere else. This might be part of Douglas Center.
Oh, part of the other
Yeah.
district?
Yeah,
This might be part of Douglas Center.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I didn't think it went across the street, but maybe that's just me being narrow-minded.
So,
I, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go?
Douglas
I'm
Center
not sure
District.
where you find, yeah, where you're gonna find that quick.
National Resources. Okay, I'm gonna do it on my, that's gonna go on my to-do list, and I'm gonna see if I can find it on the National Register to see whether or not it's considered part of the Douglas Center or not.
Good idea.
Okay. Do you think you can find that out before 4 o'clock tomorrow?
Sorry, but the pressure is on.
Come on now.
No pressure.
Pressure's on.
Actually, hold on a second.
Is that it?
I had it in the drive.
Awesome, that drive is,
See, I told you it was coming handy.
so then if we look for Main Street,
It's just gonna take an hour for this thing to open.
You want to go on to the next one? Will that?
Why don't you guys, while
Yeah,
I try and
that's
look
fine.
into this?
So we'll go kind of, maybe go back, well, the other two were Gleason Court, the grammar school, and the old fire station, so I'll just kind of go in reverse order, I guess. So the old fire station at 5 Cottage Street, so they were talking, they at the BFCC had voted to remove one of the towers, or I think it's
The
one.
tower.
One
Yes,
tower. One tower
because-
for
yeah,
safety
because it was-
reasons.
yeah.
So again, that's, well, we can vote on it, but, like, again, we probably would like them to come before us when they do stuff like that, just so
Right.
we're aware. Someone had mentioned that it was used as an outlook tower
Right.
during World War II.
It was,
So
it was
then,
for
Yeah,
civil
right.
defense.
yeah, so it would be nice to at least have a vote on that. That one, but it was added on, that was,
Right.
that other tower was.
But it was added on during a significant period of history where, you know,
Right.
with a specific purpose that.
In 1942, the tower on Engine Hall was remodeled and used as an air raid center and plane spotting place for a while.
Ah,
In
remodeled.
1945, a fire siren was installed in the tower to replace the Hayward Mill whistle as a fire alarm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that leads me, just that wording there leads me to think that it was probably a hose tower originally, to dry hoses,
Okay, dry hoses? Is that-
probably in the old days.
What's a dry hose?
To dry their hoses.
Oh,
after
to
they
dry
used
them.
Yeah, just to let them dry. They winch them up and
And
they have a
Where was
ladder.
that- Where was that piece you were reading from, Rebecca?
Marsh,
Okay, thank you. I
please.
figured as much, but I just wanted to ask.
Usually if I'm reading something like that, it's from my most favorite gossip. It is on there. 21 Main Street is part of,
Nice.
So there you go. We've got a reason
The
to,
National Register,
well, it's part of the
District?
downtown Douglas, sorry,
the Old Douglas District.
Old Douglas Center is the historic name. Now, that being said, there have been properties that have been taken down. It's only the National Register, it's not
Right.
a local district
With bylaws.
with bylaws. It can happen, but it is still something in our favor. And I bet you Shirley was probably a part of this.
Yeah. So the question that will probably get asked is, like, what does that give it exactly? You know, what does that have?
What are the parameters of that?
Yeah. Like
Does
if
it
they-
give any?
I don't think they're looking to take it down, they're just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
God, that's when it was in such, look how good shape it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
They can, you're fine.
Oh. That was in the 90s, right?
Yeah. When it had the porch and everything was still. The VFW kept it in a very good, like, it wasn't updated, but they kept it in very good.
Order. Condition.
Yes. You know, it's like a lot of those houses from the 1950s that are kept in good condition, but they're very dated.
Yeah.
That was how the VFW kept it. It was
Which is
kept
fine.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kept
that-
in
we take
very,
that.
it was kept in very good condition, just not updated. They took a lot of pride in that building.
Yeah, so, all right, so then we definitely are opposing any taking of that one down.
Yep.
Okay,
We
should-
do
should
not-
probably officially vote on that.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
I make a motion, so they usually always vote like, I don't know. Okay, so how should we word this?
Make a motion.
I was all ready to do it, and now I'm like.
Well, I'd like to
To
see.
preserve?
Well, I'd like to see, yeah, the motion to include a sentence that recommend,
We make a motion to recommend preservation of 21 Main Street.
yeah, but to
We want to also say. we-
immediately,
we-
it's not remediate, what do I want to say? We want to take measures to protect, to keep the roof for, whether it's to put temporary cover on the roof or something, so we don't continue to lose, because eventually that, we're going to lose. Like right now, the floors, that video walkthrough, the floors were in great shape, but it's not going to last very long.
With especially with moisture in the
Once it
basement.
starts going, in the basement, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're making a recommendation that measures are taken to preserve that building, especially with regard to the roof and any water from entering.
Yes.
That's on it. All right.
Why don't you make the motion since you've got it written right in front of you?
So I move that the Historic Commission recommends measures to preserve 21 Main
Yes.
Street, that be preserved from water entering it, especially regarding any repairs to the roof that might need to be done, especially given that it is on the National Register of Historic Places.
And can you amend that to say protection from vandals?
Okay, and
Because right now they're
protection from
having a
vandals, right.
Having people get it.
Okay, let me read it again. So we recommend measures to preserve 21 Main Street from water entering the building, especially, to make repairs to the roof, and protection from vandals entering the building, especially given that it's on the National Register of Historic Places.
Good.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion has passed to what Dawn just read.
So Don, will your minutes be forwarded to the BF? Or who?
I was going to read, Sarah, I was going to have these for tomorrow's meeting and read them or
Okay.
share them with them at that time. I wasn't
Okay.
necessarily going to.
So in that regard, they should then be entered into their
Correct.
minutes. Okay.
But I'll write up the minutes tonight or before the meeting so that I can share a copy and make it official.
Okay.
They like to be official.
Sounds good.
This
Okay.
poor building.
Okay, so which one are we on? The fire station? That
Yeah.
does look sad, doesn't it?
The fire
It's got that-
station-
You really feel.
The fire station that was active until 2000.
Yeah, I remember.
Really?
I used to
Yep.
go over here for meetings.
Yep.
I
The
used to meet
fire-
on the second floor.
Really?
And after the Memorial Day parade, you would go to the fire station
Yeah.
for your hoodie.
That's right.
Oh, you said 2000?
Yep.
Okay, that's right when we moved here.
Yeah, they'd open the doors up.
That's where you'd go for your hoodsies.
Yeah.
You'd start at the cave yard, the cave front lawn, you'd go all the way around town and you'd finish there.
Oh.
See, I know right now it's being used for storage of town-owned equipment.
Yes.
But ultimately, and, you know, it's kind of thinking long-term, there's that Buckeye plant. There's a little bit of land there, but there's room there. If the town's going to keep that land, which sounds like the committee.
The
at that-
Buckeye land?
Yeah, it sounds like they obviously are going to do it for wellhead protection, that you can have static storage there in metal buildings or something for town-owned equipment. And this would be, because it's downtown, like you were bringing up, access, proximity to the library, proximity to whatever, that you could really make this back into some type of functional building for the town,
Really?
whether associated
Yeah.
with historical or, I'm trying to think,
But just out of curiosity, does anybody else notice how bad that roof and the
Oh,
roof
the side?
line is
Yeah.
sagging?
oh,
Yeah, it looks scary. Like, when you said you went to the second floor, I'm like, I'd be scared
They're
to.
missing their,
To the second
they're missing
floor.
their front soffit,
Yeah.
it looks like.
It needs some serious
So
work.
it definitely needs to be shored up,
Stabilized.
stabilized.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just from the standpoint that your firehouses, your libraries, your schools, it's one of those town buildings from the bygone
Like a
era,
yeah.
the 1800s. There's definitely not another one in Douglas, and it'd be a shame to have it lost, whether or not that,
So the BFCC, their recommendation was not to tear this down. They're using it for storage for the fire department, and that was pretty much what they wanted to continue to do. Use it for storage, but take that tower down because of safety. But there wasn't any discussion about shoring it up or
Yeah.
improving,
I did see that, right?
Because,
The problem is, if you're going to continue using it as storage, that roof is going to become an issue.
Right.
Well, no, but I'm saying that roof is going to become an issue.
Yeah.
All you need is one good snow. I mean, knock on wood, we've had a couple of good winters.
Yeah.
All you need is
To compromise it.
all you need is 2015 again,
Yeah.
and that roof is gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we take any kind of vote on the tower?
I would like to ask that a structural engineer look at that. I know it's in bad shape.
Okay.
But is it possible to save it? Because
We
it
will
is part of
ask
our
that.
history. World War II is now coming up to being 100 years ago.
Right.
And I think it might have been a host tower before that. If it's possible, keep people out of there. Is it possible to stabilize it? And then for the history of the building, the significance, it's there.
Right.
You're saying that tower, that one
The
tower?
tower.
that's-
Yeah.
The wooden tower. I guess we should clarify, we're talking about the
Have
wooden one.
someone
Because
go
there's a
in.
metal one behind it, but. the
I'm
wooden
like,
one,
I have
that's
like a glare,
attached
so I'm not like seeing
to the
everything.
building.
Not someone from town who says, oh, that needs to come down.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree,
Someone who's-
a structural engineer
Yeah.
should review it. I mean, it's been standing now more than 80 years, so,
Right.
I mean, if it hasn't fallen yet,
Dawn,
could it be
Dawn,
saved? You know,
I'm going-
That's the question.
I'm doing
I
it
agree.
right now. I'm going to send you, I'm gonna send you,
Oh, the sheet on it?
I'm gonna send you my the archivist page and the introduction.
Okay, great.
And then I'm going to send you the 2 pages that cover Cottage Street.
Yes.
Which include, I'm sending you the 2 pages with my notes and introduction so that they'll know exactly where you're getting it from.
Okay.
And then I'm going to send you that.
Okay, great, and I'll print that out and have it with us.
Yeah.
So so when I look at that, I see that metal tower that's sticking up a lot, and then it looks like there's,
Yeah.
is that
so
short,
The
like really
metal
short
tower
one in
is
front of it?
behind the building and it's not attached to the building.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
That's
let
the
me,
whole-
Wooden
the
tower
siren.
is actually
Let's see if
like
we
part of the
can-
building. Let me see if I can find
that's my
it.
truck.
wait, here we go, here we go.
Oh, there we
Here
go.
Sorry,
I saw it for a sec.
bear with me.
It's very hard to see because if you have a shot of the back of the building, it's a lot easier, which I think I actually do. I just have to.
Right there, okay, that
Yeah.
wooden stick.
There you go.
Does that, is that?
That's perfect right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
let me see if I can get, I have a really good one if I
The
can
structure
find it.
behind, the metal structure is, it holds the town siren, the warning siren,
Okay,
which can be used for either emergency management, civil defense, or in the old days, to call the firefighters to come into the station, because they didn't have pagers or radios. The white tower you see, looks like it has windows, which it does
Yeah.
at the top. That's the lookout tower.
and that's what's coming down, that's what's voted to
That's
come
what's in
down.
bad shape.
Yeah.
Probably, there's 1800s photos of this building. If that thing is sitting there in those buildings, then it was there in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And if it was a hose tower. It was to hang
Okay,
the hoses. I'm not saying that's what it was, because
Yeah.
I don't know this town's history, fire department, as well as,
yeah, because now I'm confused,
Others.
because it said it was not retrofitted, something like that.
It said
It was remodeled.
Remodeled to
It
be-
sounded like it was already there,
Yeah.
right? With the word remodeled.
Yeah.
making
Which surprised me, because I was thinking they were like, oh, it's war, we need to, like, get something up there quick,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
But
no,
it
I think it was sitting there.
remodeled,
I'm not sure, but in the old photos, it'll show it, or it won't show it.
Let me
Find
see,
that.
I'm gonna see, let me check one more.
And the other factor I would have is how much land is with that building?
Okay.
So if it was preserved into some other functional building, would whoever occupies it,
guys
a
go.
committee or,
Okay,
This is a photo of the back of
Wow.
the building. So that's the tower we're all talking about.
yeah.
I can't remember when I took that, but it wasn't long ago.
Oh, wow, okay.
okay,
I know, I walked by there with my dogs and I was like so tempted.
Oh my God.
Right?
Because I watched.
It's not even
the-
0.2
I watched
acres.
the walkthrough.
Oh, you know,
And so I was like so
0.1986.
tempted to like walk back there and I was like.
So how many
"Wait,
feet
one
is that?"
time."
right.
It's .1986.
Divide,
Okay, that's pretty specific. 1986?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Remember?
And,
It's
no,
like
that's
built
what it
into the building.
Right,
It almost
it is,
looked,
yeah.
it would almost
And they
look really
actually-
weird
they
too
have-
if they did take it
They have
down.
removed this staircase recently
Yeah.
because
Street,
like,
but it's
he said
weirdly
someone was
set
trying
up.
to enter it, so
Yeah.
they removed it, but, so
I'm
that
trying-
piece is
so in
gone right
19
now.
We're not gonna get the walkthrough done.
I was gonna say, we need to like,
Do we want to take a vote on, like, getting a structural engineer to check on the tower before we?
yeah, Becky's looking for something first, I'm not sure.
Okay.
what, and then we'll-
The 1946, I believe, had an entire section on the fire department.
Oh, okay.
Engineers would volunteer their time for historic preservation.
Maybe.
And I'm just trying to see if
Not in
I'm
town, you're
correct
thinking.
or if I'm
No,
not.
Sorry.
That's okay.
someone who
Potential
wants-
spam.
You know what I mean?
This doesn't show the tower, but this is like,
Yeah, I've
I'm not
seen
sure, I
that
think that's
photo.
1946.
There's a photo of that building, the whole structure. I've seen it before somewhere.
No, it's not in here. It must be a different one. Okay, I've got to look for it, but I believe somewhere I've got more information on the fire truck. Problem is I don't have full access to my archive right now
Oh,
because our brick walls are being done in the basement. I should have access, if not next week, the week after, and I will see what I can find out about the fire
yeah,
station.
and I want to just clarify with the BFCC tomorrow, because they seem to do a vote to remove it, but as far as I know, it's still there.
Right, it is still there. I'm assuming they're going to have to get funding to remove that, so that
Right.
would probably at least take,
I have a,
I don't know if capital committee would be able to fund that, or if they're going to have to go to town meeting
and
for
I
that.
guess I have a question. This is showing I'm not fully aware of all of this. Do we just need their vote?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure. I don't know how much say
I
we
would
get
say
in
it's a Board of
it,
Selectmen.
or if we get any, or if they're just,
I mean,
you know.
ultimately.
Usually Matt is at those meetings and he
Right.
knows everything, so we should
mean-
ask that question.
That is
I'm-
a good question.
I'm just
'cause I
won-
don't know, like, if we even, I mean, we could suggest to them things, and I don't know if, like.
Yeah, I would
our
think they
vote
report
has
back
any-
to the Board of Selectmen,
has
and
any
then
weight,
Selectmen just go
but-
on their recommendation.
I just don't know if it's, because building and facilities, what, it's building facilities
Construction Commission.
commission.
Yeah.
I believe commissions have more power than committees.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How about Historic Commission? How much power do we have?
Well, no, I'm saying, I'm saying, I believe commissions have more, I believe they've got a little bit more say than a committee. That's why I'm wondering.
The
So that might
building
be-
that did require some funds, the center school that they
Right.
voted on, they wanted to bring it up to capital. Now, I don't know if that's how it always goes, it
Yeah.
depends on the amount of money.
I think it depends on the amount. I think
Amount.
capital can only vote, I'm pretty sure the project has to be like 10,000 or under for
Okay.
it to go to capital. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm.
Yeah, well, let's
almost
ask that,
positive.
let's clarify that.
I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I remember, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so.
There is I don't know what the cap is, but there is a cap for it to go to them.
Yes,
Like,
it
it
Yeah.
is.
can't be
It's like
over-
25,000.
Yeah, probably not 10,000.
So-
That's too low.
I think it's 25.
Maybe it was at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make
Maybe many
a,
years ago.
let's make a motion on the,
Fire
on
station.
the fire station. Why don't, at this point, we just keep it to looking for a structural engineer to review the tower? And do we also want to make recommendation to having the roof shored up?
Yes. I would,
Stabilize the building.
right.
Because it sounds like the building committee
Doesn't want
doesn't want to tear it down.
Right.
So, and I listened to Adam's dissertation while he was in the building, and he, you know, it's obviously, they need the building. They need the
And they thought it was in
storage.
pretty good, they thought it was in pretty good shape, maybe it looks
Yeah.
worse.
They
from the
said
outside than the
one side was in better shape than the other side, is
That's
basically
right.
what they were saying.
And like
So
I said,
think-
to me,
yeah, I think that's
just-
a more reason. If they think they still need it for a reason for the town, then
Yeah.
they should look to
At least
stabilize
get,
it.
yeah, so.
Okay. So we're gonna make another motion. Is this a two-parter? So what we would suggest?
It's pretty much the same.
Well, one is stabilizing and one we want to know about
I
that
think it is two
tower.
parts. So the same as
Yeah.
a school, because we also want to do vandal
Protection.
Yeah,
protection.
protect from vandals.
More than just a couple boards up, whatever, you know what I mean? Just to
Yeah.
make it more secure,
Especially with storage.
less inviting. And then what the second part would be, get somebody going in there that's licensed and just take a look at the tower. Let them, because I'm not going to disagree with someone going in, a licensed engineer saying, yeah, this thing needs to come down tomorrow, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And
needs to come
I,
down.
or if they go in and they're like, okay, we can stabilize it, but it's going to cost you $500,000.
Well, and that's a fact.
As
yeah.
long as
Yeah.
we had some kind of idea of if
Yeah.
it could be saved.
Give it a chance before it's gone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if it could be saved and how much it would
Yeah,
cost.
and
to
in
save.
20, you know, right now, it might be standing for a while, but in 25 years, you know, we wanted.
The fire department's been out there since 2000. It's 24 years ago.
Yeah,
Mine, they're not technically out of there, they're still using the storage, but as far as a day-to-day working building.
Yeah, and then
So
another-
that's 24 years.
And it
I
looks-
don't bet you a dime's been put in there.
Right.
I know.
I mean,
And honestly, I don't know how much, I don't know how much was put into it no, in the years leading up to it, because they were pushing to get, I remember the push to
yeah,
get a
so
new
the
fire.
15 years before that.
I remember the push
Right.
to get a new fire department, because this wasn't big enough for
I
what
think
the town
building
needed anymore.
deserves
Some
us
love.
recommending to see if it can be stabilized, kept,
Stabilized and secured.
you know, and it's right
This-
downtown.
This is, I don't know what year that photo is.
Oh,
I
yeah.
found that one online, but that's while it was still an
That's a
active
good,
fire
that's a good
department.
photo.
So that was what the tower looked like before it fell into disrepair.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that
That's
looks
neat.
good.
And I mean, it stood for all these years, so I mean, I feel like we just should at least give it a shot.
to see it.
You know,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see if it can be saved before we just say, oh, tear it down, it's a hazard, you know?
Yeah.
Because, it's a building also that, like, Oktoberfest or Memorial Day, that you still could use it for something.
Yeah.
Put the doors up and do it.
Yeah.
That kids
Put an
will
old
remember
fire
for
truck in
years and
there,
years, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh my God, okay, as a mother of a 2.5-year-old, you put
love that.
a fire truck in that thing and I could not pull my kid out
He's
of,
entertained all day.
oh my God, he would go bonkers. Like, I could never get the kid out
Him
of
and
there.
Smokey the
So-
Bear.
Fun fact, not that I want to deter you from doing anything in Douglas, but Uxbridge used to, their old fire truck, you could rent it, pay a donation, and they would come do like a birthday party. I did it for my son.
Because they do have.
And they use that to
Fire truck.
fundraise, so they use
Well,
their old.
Have you all seen the restored, recently opened Uxbridge Fire Museum in North Uxbridge? It's
No.
Old Station 2, you can't miss it, you gotta go see it.
I would like to
It's
see it.
beautiful.
I think that's,
Kevin Meehan, I believe, I don't want to speak out of
Oh,
order,
boy.
but he did donate this is what I heard, like, part of the doors, for the front, so they'd be like the old-fashioned style.
Yeah.
I'm not certain on the Kevin Meehan thing, but
probably.
But no, that actually would be that could be a good like fundraising type
Right.
situation to set up.
The town
I mean,
does
and we
a
have-
fire
we have a
engine.
lot of-
They used to take it out for Memorial Day parade.
Yes,
so-
and we have a lot of
Yeah.
retired firefighters that could probably, are
Yeah.
still licensed,
Right.
that could do these fundraising,
Right.
something, you know?
All right, so we need so we need two motions.
Yes.
One for structural and, English, not my first language apparently. One for structural engineer to
Right.
look at the tower as well as
let's
roofing
do that one
situation.
second. Let's say that we agree that this building should be saved if possible.
Yes.
Let's do that first, but stabilized.
So I'll try to make the motion. So
It's going to be the same as the other one.
we are voting for 5 Cottage Street to be stabilized and protected from vandals in the interest of just having integrity of the building going forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Right? And then motion number 4 is to use, recommend to use town funds for a structural engineer to review the fire, really especially focusing on the tower that's recommended to be taken down at 5 Cottage Street, the old fire station.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Oh, passed.
Oh, passed. Okay, and then we just have one more building there, sorry.
Yep.
This one's going to be easy.
Yeah, this is easy. So the old grammar school, which I think Becky.
Put another haunted house in there.
I tore
There's a fundraiser.
I tore my pants up crawling around those floors with a fire alarm. With all the little nails from the,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
don't crawl in that building.
All right.
painful.
So, this building, built 1898, stopped being a school it was either 78 or 79 when what is today known as the primary school, when I was a kid known as the elementary school opened. During the 1990s, had a stint as a haunted house. It was really cool.
It was awesome.
I sat on a table and screamed in an operating room for 8 nights. Then it went to the firefighters to use as training.
Yeah.
They are still using it currently.
So the BFCC recommended that this be sold for minimal money to a developer. Building's, overall in good shape structurally, but would need a lot inside to make it, they're thinking more like living space, I think.
All asbestos has been taken care of. I believe Adam said full of lead paint, but everything else has been cleaned out.
Yeah.
Full of lead
And
paint.
I think lead paint, you can just, maybe someone else knows, but I think you can just paint over it if it's not chipping.
I think if they wanted to do apartments, I think they
I
would
think
have.
if you had.
They'd have to do like remediate.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you're getting it for a nominal fee, the remediation of lead paint at that point is almost counteracting what you would be paying for.
Yeah.
Once again, stripped of everything.
Now, if they do sell it to make apartments, they keep the integrity of it.
Yes, that was part of what the BFCC
Terms.
said, is that they would.
Okay.
Yeah, there'd be something
Yeah.
inside there that's not torn
It
down.
would be
it's not-
finished with a, obviously, with a, there would, the terms would be, there'd be some type of plaque on the building saying
And
what it was.
I actually had somebody on one of the committees, don't think it was the BFCC committee, but it was one of the committees, come in and request photographs from the library of the building. So this is what the building looked like when it opened in
Wow.
1890.
Nice. And what was it used? Oh, it was a grammar school, darn.
Yep. So that was what it was originally
Looks a
looked
lot
like.
bigger, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, because it's all
I guess they're
open.
little, they're small children.
So that was what it looked like. So what they would be
No
looking
trees.
to do would obviously be to rebuild, from what I was told, look to rebuild the porch and all of that.
Is that water color?
Then there's another close-up with the teachers. Here's a close-up with some of the pupils. And then the 1989 Belden report, which is about 10 years after it closed down. And this is what it looked like at
Boy,
that
the brush has really grown in around that thing, huh?
Yeah, I know there's no trees in the first one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to close it.
But that looks pretty much the same, right? To me. I don't know what it looks like inside.
So this was not in the original. Whatever's on these sides here, those were not part of the original. Those were something that were added a little bit later on. But other than that, it looks to be almost identical to when it was built.
Right.
And I would love to see it stay the same.
Right.
Oh, I feel like it's such a shame there's not like an after-school youth center in that building.
No kidding.
It's
Once
just
again,
the
that's-
accessibility factor. Ugh.
So,
Let somebody else worry about that.
I know.
You know?
so that is.
I like to see it occupied and be used.
Yes.
Right.
So that
You know?
was, so when we were looking, when the library was looking, when they were doing the thing, they had to have different sites. We had to have, I think it was our current site, and then we had to have 3 other sites for this grant that we were considering. Do you know it would cost more to tear that down and put up a new building than it would to add to, like, just to tear it down, than it would cost to put up, to add to the current library?
Wow.
So was it that committee meeting that we attended that there was a suggestion that it could be used, the funds available for it's low-income housing, affordable housing
Right.
for like town employees,
Yeah, they had mentioned
Oh.
like,
highway
you know,
workers,
Right.
firefighters.
Interesting.
Who need entry-level housing,
Right.
apartments, small apartment efficiency, or whatever they might be,
So,
apartments.
where we run into problem? Anybody want to guess the acreage?
None.
We're actually,
Point 22.
we're 1.2.
1.2.
We're 1.2.
Oh, 1.2, you've got an acre?
But we're
Who
still,
owns the surrounding land? Is it the school?
so,
Like beyond that lot?
am I, okay, I'm in the right one here. Bear with me as I
Well,
pull
the
up.
town must be in a butter
Right.
on the south
It looks
side.
like mine without the colors.
Just wondering if they could
Who
like,
owns the post office?
the town.
The town, we rented to the post office.
Oh, we
That's
rent-
another
Yeah.
whole thing that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
So we're in a
about
butter on that
BFCC.
side too, then?
Right.
Okay, so here's the grammar school.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
I
that
was just
giant
wondering
driveway?
if they
Here's
could,
the post
you know,
office.
add a piece of land to make it more.
Well, you can.
Then
Right.
over here,
That's just the woods, isn't it?
you've got, this is what's right behind, this is right behind the Methodist church.
Okay.
Okay,
This is
that's,
this is where the post, this is where you see all the post trucks park.
yeah.
Then,
Oh, and that's the right of way to the schools there.
yep, then you've got these,
Was it private?
yep.
That 124 is private. So does the church own 109?
Where's 10?
No, it says Town of Douglas.
Yeah, because that's the church, it looks like right there where it's highlighted.
Yeah, that's right behind the church.
Says Town of
That's where the post
Douglas,
office,
right?
that's where the mail trucks park.
But that's Town of Douglas property.
Yep.
Oh,
But remember, you run into the problem where you've got to leave room for the mail trucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's some type of agreement along with the post office.
But, so, I mean, obviously, this is just, there are other ways to utilize some of that land that's right there.
Yeah.
That they could maybe adjust the parking lot for the postal
well,
trucks.
I don't, this is not official in any way, but there was some discussion with the BFCC that maybe they didn't want to keep continuing to lease that building to the post office.
And then-
Maybe that would,
I've actually been hearing that more and more recently.
yeah. So that could
Why?
change. They don't get enough revenue.
Changes in the postal environment.
Where would we put a post office in town, though?
You may not. Well, I don't know.
That would be a whole separate discussion.
Okay. All right, then. All right,
But I
moving
I
on.
have
So-
heard the same.
Got some
so-
Yeah.
buildings they can use.
So here is the primary school,
Okay.
or the primary and the elementary.
Yep.
Okay.
This is the screwiness of that. So, that's where it gets screwy. So, here's the grammar school.
Did anyone else notice that that entire chunk of land next to where the street with the schools are is for sale? It's all woods, but it's like, I saw a giant for sale sign, like just when you drive up to like pick up the kids.
Oh,
Like
side?
right
But
over
once
the
again,
guardrail.
because
Yeah.
of where it is, they've got to be careful.
Right, but it's, I don't know who owns it, but it's for sale, so I'm like,
yeah.
I was surprised not to have heard about it, you know?
So while there is a ton, so what you've got for parking is you've got this section. That's the,
That's the church.
That's the
That's the
majority
church.
of the.
so you,
But I mean, that is a huge parking lot that isn't often utilized. And
Right,
if
but
that
maybe they'd
parking
sell
lot
it.
was, there's that grass area that separates where the mail trucks are from the rest of that parking lot. Like, if that was kind of,
I'm just saying, so that's what you've got, making sure that you leave the right of way to the schools. And
So why is there not available parking behind the building
or in front
or in
of,
front of the building?
there's plenty of
because of that
space.
slope, I think that's what a lot of it is. It's just an awkward,
Oh, behind the building slopes.
well, behind the building is right,
Yeah.
the behind the building basically, I mean, if you look at it, it almost
I
looks like,
never really have, yeah.
behind the building almost look like it is right up against the school line, where the school property starts.
Oh, where their parking lot is. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's their property, but if you walk behind the building, there is a space where it looks like there was old parking.
But it, you gotta wonder when they created it, you gotta remember, the primary school went up in 1979, so I'm sure they divided land, knowing they were closing that, so they bet you they
Yeah.
chopped that line as close as they
So
could.
so I guess I'm gonna ask the question of, what do we care? What this discussion that we're having right now,
No, I'm just
what
saying for
bearing does it
parking.
have on our recommendation for the buildings? All we're trying to do is recommend that they sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
They can
and
figure
then-
And we agree with
They
it.
can
with
figure out
their-
the parking situation.
Yeah.
Right, and if it's
Right.
just like, I don't know, if it's 2 or 4 or 6 apartments,
You don't need a ton of parking.
right, it's probably enough or enough with a little bit of.
There's actually, I think I heard that there's more availability, potential for efficiency type.
Yeah.
Affordable housing apartments.
Okay.
And I
And
mean,
it
I know
also
they
doesn't
did have.
impact
I
the
just-
school system.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I always just, my fear is you're very close to the schools, and I always,
Well, they did have that whole, they had a whole committee at one point that, it was, I can't remember what it's called, Old Grammar School, something
Yeah.
committee, where they just basically studied what could be done with it. And they even, I think they had put out an RFP for you know, proposals for people to,
Yeah.
and they maybe got a couple, but they didn't want any of them because the schools were afraid it was too
It was-
close to the schools.
there
for
weren't enough
apartments
restrictions
and-
on the
Right, and it turned into
clientele
like
who
kind of
they
stuff like
wanted.
that,
But
but,
then that came up again at the BFCC, and it's like,
Yeah.
listen, there's,
Yeah.
there's houses all around the
Right,
schools. And
exactly.
there could, anybody, no one's
Right.
restricted from moving there.
And I don't
because
know
they might be a
what the
predator or
percentage of,
something.
Right.
in this town, but, you know, you're supposed to be able to be offering or available a percentage of affordable housing. I don't
Right.
know what the town's percentage is compared,
Yeah.
but,
Well, Hayward Landing covers a lot of that.
okay,
Hayward Landing is affordable housing.
yeah.
Some of it.
But I,
Some of it, some of it's affordable.
I mean, that was,
but
Yeah.
depending on how restricted you're going to be on the caveat that goes with the sale of the building, of who can move into the building, you know what I mean? You can't be,
I mean, you can't really restrict it anywhere
No.
else either, like Don was saying, like, people could live downtown.
buy a house.
I mean,
You know, like, you
technically,
could buy a house anywhere.
could a
Like-
predator even move in there? Let's be real, because they have
so many feet.
laws
Right,
Yeah.
that
Right.
would that even be an issue?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's always something that
Yeah.
comes up when they start
Yeah.
talking about this, that property is the schools right up
So,
the.
but I think the BFCC is backing away from that, so
Yeah.
that's good for
Right.
our purposes.
I mean, I kind of agree, I would just like to see it become something.
Something.
Instead of
That
sitting
keeps the,
there.
Yeah.
that keeps the
You know.
integrity of
And
the
it's
building.
obviously well-built.
Yes.
It's not, like you
It's
said, it's
just-
going to cost more.
I think obviously, it's not probably in the best interest of the town because of the cost, all right, for it to be turned into a municipal building of some type. It's just, the accessibility is going to be a huge issue.
Yeah.
The renovation, the remediation of the hazardous materials.
I think
Yeah.
selling it to someone for a
Let's-
nominal fee, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's just-
And
we
getting
want-
them
we
to do
wanna
the
still see it
rehab on it.
As long as the
Right.
building is there, like
Yeah.
its structural
Right.
integrity is
Exactly.
Yeah.
saved, like,
And
I think as
and
long
it
as
still
we-
looks
Which
the way
I
it
can't
looks.
imagine anybody wanting to change it, because it's going to be extremely expensive to tear
Correct.
it
Well, and it's a
down.
beautiful
And it's-
building.
And the, exactly, the.
Like the
bones are
Blanchard School
there.
in North Uxbridge.
Right,
You know,
that looks really nice.
you drive by that, it looks like the school.
right.
Yes, yeah, they did a
Right.
really good job with
They
that.
did a nice
Yeah.
job there. All right, so let's do a motion for that building, the old grammar school at,
11 Gleason Court.
thank you. And, well, our recommendation would be to preserve this building, and that we're in agreement with the BFCC's plan to sell to a developer for small money. So we're, how do we?
We are in agreement of selling the property for a nominal fee as long as the integrity of
Right.
the
exterior.
exterior is maintained.
Okay.
Mm.
That
Or
sounds
preserved,
good.
yeah.
Preserved, maintained,
Sounds good.
something along those lines.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed.
Okay, so I will write these up, and we'll talk to the BFCC tomorrow, and then we'll probably just send an email to let you know how it went,
Okay.
although you can watch it. So now that it's getting late, what do we want to do about the working session?
That was a lot of work.
That was a lot of work that we hadn't even really intended
We
on.
haven't even
There was lots of
opened
discussion.
Item number 3?
I don't, do we want to maybe, so, I mean, Main Street, we've got some properties. Do we want to maybe just kind of go down Main Street, get some of them? Because that'll cover, if we do Main Street and Northeast Main Street, we'll get them, and then we'll do another session for the other properties.
Okay.
Because those two, we just kind of can do a straight line.
Yeah.
Run out of tape?
No, I had to go, I just wanted to switch to the display so that that's in the recording.
Okay, so where we are going now is we are trying to find pictures. We're trying to find properties that we will take pictures of to present to the Mass Historic Commission for our downtown historic district. The downtown historic district is going to be focusing on the two different mill periods of Douglas, the axe mills, which was the 1750s to the 1880s, and then the woolen mills, which was the 1880s to the technically 1980s, but more 1960s. One of the samples that the Mass Historic Commission gave us was Lennox. Lennox had about 287 contributing properties, and they took 193 pictures. We have,
Similar number.
I would like to get the number correct before I spout off. We have, math is not my strong suit. 250 minus 22 is 250, 227?
Yeah.
228. 228 contributing properties.
I mean, driving through Lennox, it's a lot, it's a very
They're
straight line, it's, you know what I mean? There's a lot more retail.
And also looking at the pictures,
Shops.
they also, a lot of the properties seem to be a lot more preserved
There's little, yeah,
than ours.
Right.
But I'm just giving an example of how they did it. So maybe something to keep in mind as we're doing it. When we originally talked, we said we kind of wanted to make sure we hit all the main spots, library, churches, buildings such as where Greg's is, the Jig Store, those. But we also want to make sure we hit properties that, even if they aren't the best looking, represent the time period. A couple of the houses on North Street, once you get past Hayward Landing, there are 4 houses that were very much mill housing. You want to hit something like that. You want to hit some that were historically looking but have now been updated. You kind of want to give a wide variety of everything.
So, and I believe the MHC person, I think they said we definitely want 10%, but did he say a little bit more? I'm trying to see if I can see email.
I have so many emails.
So the inventory of the area form is what we've been working on. That's like pretty much.
Yeah, that's not a full inventory. This is just
One page.
these are the properties for this part.
And then the B form, being the building forms, are the ones that we need to do the representative.
But he said they didn't need to be done for this. He said it would be good for our purposes, but that it wasn't to be issued with these.
Oh, okay.
I've got that email somewhere.
We do not need individual B forms if we're evaluating an area, just the area form. But B forms with updated information about a property or for a property not in the inventory are most welcome, so please do submit those.
So we don't need it for this.
Yeah.
But if you look at Lennox's, they talk about some of those properties kind of using information from B forms, so I think that's where we would be pulling.
Okay.
So right now, we need to focus on the picture aspect.
Yes. So we don't need photos of every resource, but includes a number of general context photos, which we have 1 or 2, and photos of key/representative resources. These can include best examples of style, type of buildings, or other interesting resources. And then it talks about the down sheet.
Yep.
so what is that, something like 20 pictures? Is that 10%?
It's going to be, I think 10% is fine, but really we probably will have a hard time narrowing it down to 20,
I think we go through, we say yes or no, and then when we see how many we actually have yes, we then start narrowing from there.
Okay.
Because then we might have duplicate, like
So
something that
start
shows
with
the same
more
thing.
than that.
Yeah, I
Start
think,
with like 35 or something.
I think we just go through each one and we say yes or no, and then we see how many we have, and then we start.
And
the
we're
narrow.
looking at structural differences between best preserved already?
Well, we want representative, so what's our story? So the story is the 2 mills
Yeah.
that you talked about, but then then they ask for representative photos, so definitely photos of mill housing. But then on top of that, like the landmarks, like what you'd have, like, your Macy's in a mall, like the library and the junk store and the post
Are there
office.
any structures within the proposed district that are from the 1700s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So I will, as we go through, I'll be able to give years, and I will also be able to give a little bit of context to each house.
Okay.
So let's actually start here. 175 Main Street.
Yes.
This is the Frost House. That is what it is best known as. This is the house of Schuster's sister, Eleanor, and her husband, Robert. Robert was very well known in the Schuster Mills. He was one of the main people. When the Frosts no longer lived there, it went to Schuster's daughter, Sue, who married Dave Cave, and it was the Cave house when I was growing up. This lawn has been a part of almost every Memorial Day parade.
Yes.
Yeah. So we don't, if we go through each one in that detail, we're going to be here
Yeah,
forever.
but, well, I know this is,
Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement that we want to include that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you checking off? as
Yep.
we go? Okay.
okay, so.
Across the street. Go for the car.
Okay, this one is 187 Main.
That doesn't tell me any story about our.
No.
187 Main was built 1986, so it's actually non-contributing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. 195 Main, 1976.
No. Do you want me
One,
to do this? Becky, or-
yeah, if you wanna, okay, so this one's 196 Main. Right here, with the Pratt truck in front of it.
When was that?
That's 1800.
It is a nice house.
1800? So that means about 1800.
Yes, it's circa
That's, is
1800.
that a real estate? Yeah, so it could be anything.
That one's a possibility. Do we want to, in this one too?
I would put a question mark next to that.
I would then,
How do you want me to indicate?
Because you're going-
I would just mark yes, and like I said, we'll go
Okay.
through them from,
Okay.
we'll mark them down afterwards.
So I'm
Yeah.
putting a check mark on that one. That was 206. I'm sorry, that was 196.
Yep.
And that must be 206 next to it.
What about the house way up back? Is that being, the driveway being,
The big mansion?
yeah.
Schuster's, we haven't gotten to yet.
Okay.
That, are you talking about the driveway here?
Yes.
That goes to Caves. That goes to the
The first one we
175.
looked
Oh,
at.
that's Caves.
Yep.
It's not.
It's the driveway's up more.
It is, same house, yeah,
Yeah.
that is now the Bilodeau house. Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was the
Yes.
front.
I think,
Which
oh,
one's
maybe
the-
I'm confused.
What's the one, what is
You're
the house
talking about the
behind?
big house behind it?
Yeah.
The driveway's up past the little
That's
water
way
box.
past. So this one, the driveway goes here, all the way around and comes down. This is, it's a whole circular driveway.
So is that not concerned Main Street, though?
No, it is. This one here?
No, the one up in the
Oh,
hill.
we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, we're
That's
not
way
that
further
far down
down.
the street.
Okay, so.
Oh, I see, because you're talking about that driveway, all right.
207 Main Street.
1885. Well, that's the mill period, but, and that one's, I think that one's a possibility.
How many do we have
207 Main.
to choose
That's the
from?
John Irving house.
200, oh, okay.
That's the John Irving house. So,
Any particular?
So I'm just gonna let-
histories Or,
so we've got the John Irving house, right? Then we've got the Luther Hill house,
That one's really nice.
and then
I like.
we've got the,
Yeah, it's a
And they've been
combination
up
of
there.
then we've got the Charles Hunt house.
there, they've been
So those
painted.
three houses going right down in a row are all, they're all like 1885, 1860, 1840. They're all that time period,
Yeah.
and it could be indicative of an area. So we might want to just say yes to all of them now.
Okay.
And then maybe clean them out as we get
So that's
closer.
207, 209,
Tell you that.
215.
Yeah. And then you've
No,
got,
The other one don't look too good
Yeah.
next to it right now.
huh?
Bloodhound Lane,
Oh,
Bob Stevens' house.
Then you've got this one here, 216.
that one's just as good, but we'll probably end up culling it I think the greenhouse is the nicest.
216 is 1849 in the Deacon Albert Butler House.
1869?
49.
49.
That's a definite possibility.
So the area we're in right now was very much the Hunt area.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think
pretty,
that's the significance of it, is that, you've got a neighborhood there that,
because say hello to the Oliver Hunt House.
That's pretty impressive with its columns.
Yeah.
I like that one.
228.
Yeah.
228.
Yep, so.
Okay, 1850.
So this one had a big fire in the 1990s.
the one on the right?
Nope,
Second
The white one.
the white one.
Oh, the white.
Big fire in the 1990s.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And when it got repaired, the owner sold it to whoever bought it. I believe it was either one or two owners before this one,
Yeah.
who put the wall up around it. Before that, there was no wall.
Oh. Oh, I
Kind
never
of
knew
like it
that.
with the wall.
Interesting.
I had a very hard time when the wall went up because it never had a wall, and it was just like, it's not supposed to have a wall. Now,
That's
Scott,
that driveway you're talking
this is the
about.
one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, the Schuster Mansion
I'm not sure.
was built in 1938.
Yeah.
229.
229. It was built in
Sure, we also guessed
1938. Yep. But the killer is, when you think about it, it's not as old as so many of the other ones.
No.
Right.
Yeah, but it's still within the
Oh, yeah.
parameters.
No, I'm just saying, like, when you think about, like, all the other
Yeah.
ones, it doesn't.
Yeah, sure.
Now, this one,
I'd like to represent some different styles too. if we
Mansard,
could,
yeah.
You know?
I
It's an
know.
answer, right?
Yeah.
Because now we're already up to like 12
well,
probably.
like I said, this area, we've just, I
We're
think,
gonna narrow them down after here. but-
yeah, this area, we just end up,
Because that looks like a pretty classic, like, Second Empire.
Right.
well, this is the A.F. Jones House, which is a name that I see a lot in a lot of my research.
You're right, because.
Aaron F. Jones.
Town clerk or something.
Historian, he's done a lot. Yep.
I've seen his name a lot too.
Okay.
So like I said, unfortunately, when we're looking at a lot of these are names that constantly are coming up in the historical records.
Right.
But we're at that part of the town. Okay, so now this one here, 246, no, 244. Charles Abbott, it's an 1840, but to me, it's not as impressive as the other ones.
Right.
Especially not now.
And right next to it was a garage that got torn
Yeah, it
down.
looks pretty empty over there.
Yeah.
So,
So to me, like, if we're looking to cull
It's not
stuff,
representative of
that would be one that would be culled.
Okay.
colorway.
Okay, and Mr. Truck is really gonna throw me off here.
This is a cool house. I went through that one when it was for sale recently.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. It says definitely 17 something.
Oh, nice.
This one right here?
Yeah.
What number one?
It's right in the corner of Carter Street.
Yep, 249,
Yeah, that thing-
1800.
Yeah, it's like 7.
Joseph and Oliver Hunt House, that goes
That
on
house
it.
is like 1770. I
Nice.
went through it. I know my old capes.
Yeah, it's a
It's older
circa.
than 18, but 1800 is what real estate agents put on things that
Right.
they don't.
Well, this
Right.
is a mix of Marsh Town Assessor and what Macris ended up putting
Yeah.
it as.
Yeah,
We went with
Yeah, so we
Macris.
estimated, so that's 1800 could definitely be late, so,
it's pre.
yeah.
So,
It's got an 1845 summer kitchen built onto the, and a very typical
I think I'm
of the
turning into a
period.
pumpkin. How much we're gonna get through.
okay, so then we've got, okay, no matter what I do, I'm not gonna be able
Yeah,
to.
that's all right. What's that,
257.
Greek Revival?
Samuel Lovett House. So you've got the Samuel Lovett Mills.
Yeah, and it's got the pillars.
Yep,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
and that one's 257.
So I think 249 we said yes.
Yep.
That was just restored. The roof on that was just restored.
Why don't we go up to Shirley's and then we'll consider,
Okay.
and we'll figure out a next. Okay, 265 is the Theodore Stone House, built in 1830. We kind of are,
Federal.
we're gonna kind of be getting a couple that are very similar, because you've got, I know they've also got pillars, but you've got these, I feel like these three houses are somewhat similar in style. So you've got the 265, which is the Theodore Stone, 271 is Otis Hunt, and 275 is the Minnie Lovett House. And we've got 1871, 1830, and 1830. So I honestly feel like these, you're kind of just picking,
Yeah.
pick
Yeah,
one.
One out of them,
Maybe we
right.
should just be doing that as we go, is just pick one rather than go through it a second time.
How-
This one, I feel like they just, is this the one that they just had major work done on?
I can't tell, we're a little far away.
Isn't that the one where they just had that addition put on the back?
Oh,
I think they just
I
had the
think so.
addition, because if you look, there's different color vinyl siding. They just had addition work done.
Well, it certainly looks like it's been altered in some way, rather than its original form.
I like
Where
that.
that one.
I like
is-
the one where the chiropractor is. That's good.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Lovett House,
No.
which shares,
Very
which shares the barn with the Jenks
old
store.
Oh, yeah, nice.
The other ones seem better than that.
historic
Haunted
Yeah.
house.
I was looking at
We want to go with the chiropractor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone?
So that's 273.
Okay. I don't see 273. Sure, that's the number, not 275.
She's gonna get it to you. She's driving.
Right.
yeah,
Who, me?
like a drunkard.
Try 271.
271. Okay,
Sorry, that was me.
that's okay.
That truck keeps following you.
And then we've got Shirley's.
That should definitely go on.
Yes.
Can't see it.
Yep.
There it is.
No matter what, I just cannot get a good view
Yeah.
of Shirley's.
it's hot. Oh, I
Yeah.
think we all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the number?
Shirley is
284.
244? No, that can't be right.
It's 289.
There
265.
it is.
I'm gonna say 270 something is the,
Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. 262.
262? Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we did not get as far as we wanted to on our
Yes.
virtual walkway.
So, but we know what we, so we just kind of have a continuum, I guess, of this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And I don't, if you want to move that meeting close to this one, I'm up for getting this done.
Yeah.
We agree.
I mean, I'd really,
I agree.
rather than let too much time go, because summer's coming along, I'd rather have time in the summer than right now.
Yeah, so what,
you- Rather get this done.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially where we lost an
Couple-
hour tonight. We didn't lose an hour, we did a lot of work.
I think,
We did.
We
I
saved
pro-
all kinds of,
Right.
I propose that the next meeding, we focus solely on getting through this.
absolutely.
Yeah, sure, sounds fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Dawn?
don't add anything to the agenda. So,
Well, originally, that's what we were gonna do, but then the other meetings popped up, and
Well,
it was
yeah.
like, oh
yeah,
gosh.
that
we
had
don't-
a time frame.
Right.
So like maybe 2 weeks from now, is that, we'll have to do, we don't have to do it on a, whatever today is, Tuesday, but whatever.
Okay, so Tuesday and Wednesday nights are my best bet.
Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Tuesdays work awesome for me.
Tuesdays, depending on what's booked, I'm usually working, but let me see what we're looking at.
Monday and Thursday nights are completely out. Fridays, it's usually afternoons I can do.
So when is Memorial Day weekend?
The 27th,
Okay.
or the 25th.
27 is Memorial Day.
Yes, so
So
25th,
the
26th.
28th is a Tuesday.
That's my birthday.
I can't.
Well,
you're like-
I'm definitely not available that day.
No, I don't blame you.
Did you say
My-
Wednesday? Did somebody say Wednesday?
Tuesday and Wednesday, Becky said we're good.
Yeah,
Is the 29th.
I can do.
Just so we get one more meeting this
Wednesday, the
month, then?
29th. Sure, I can do
What
that.
time?
I can do that.
Same time?
What time can you do?
I can be here by 5:15.
I'm open.
So I might be able to get out of work a little early, but I don't get out in Northborough until 5:30 on
Oh.
a Wednesday, so I wouldn't be here till 6:15.
Okay.
But I could try and, it's
You could do it-
it's far
I
enough
mean,
out, I might be able to ask them if
We
I
could
could.
do a 6:30 meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6:30
Is that
would be
okay?
fine.
Is that
Yeah.
okay with
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, 6:30 would,
Wednesday, May 29th at 6:30. All right, so I will do the agenda, which
That
will
in
just be
here
one
right
thing.
now.
did you let
And we'll
Lisa
book a
know
room
about
right
the
away.
changes
That's right.
in the board?
What are flights looking like?
Right? That's right.
This Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa Freeman.
Yes, she knows all about it.
Okay.
She's been contacting them.
Okay. I meant like meeting,
Oh, I don't remember. I did that. What's her last name?
Freeman.
Good.
I think I did.
Yeah, I can go home, see hubby, see kid, then
Do you
come here.
do Outlook calendar at all? Does anybody we have a commonality on?
One calendar? No.
Calendar?
I do Google Calendar.
I'm a Google Calendar.
Yeah, and I've been
I don't
sending
know
that
what that, I
invite.
use whatever calendar's on my phone, I don't know what that is.
I've been sending
I
the
was just
invite to
curious.
you guys, so.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
use.
That's fine.
I'm a Mac person.
I live and breathe by Google Calendar because
Me too.
I have way too many schedules to try and keep track of. And Google lets me do, everybody in the family has their own color.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm not kidding. Like, this is this month.
That's what I'm saying, yours looks like mine, because I've got yellow for Massimo, red if it's in person, blue if it's work.
Oh my God, yeah. Okay, so do we like the way that this is, the walkthrough is going, the virtual walkthrough?
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's
it
really
works
clear on
fine.
that screen.
Sure.
Okay. Because if we don't like the way it's going, we can try and think of a different way to do things.
I thought it worked good.
Oh, we have to adjourn the
Oh,
meeting.
yes. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. What time?
This meeting's adjourned at 7:18. Thank you all for your time. Much appreciated.